All right, hello. Welcome to our workshop where we're going to be taking our cells that we're just learning about and turning them into a factory. So you learned all about the different parts of the cells yesterday. So now we're going to take that and we're going to create a little some fancy little art on that. Now, I am not a good artist. I've told you that before. So you don't need to have a fantastic piece of art here. If you are great, if you are very spatial and you love working with art, you're great at it. Awesome, yours is going to look great. But remember, this does not need to be a stunning masterpiece. It'd be great if it was, but I can't do that either. So I'm going to go ahead and sort of show you how I would do mine. You can make it in any way that you want. So up at the top, now also I only have a piece of regular old printer paper. Hopefully you have some construction paper. You can make this pretty cool. But, so I'm going to go ahead and call this Mr. Berry's cell factory. And I guess I will make in my factory, I'll make footballs, obviously, right? There we go. Okay. So this is going to be my cool cell football factory. Okay. So starting from a blank page, first thing we need to do is we need to think about, what does a factory have? Factory is a place where you go and you create things. Things are built. Things are created, right? So it's going to be some sort of a building. So let's see if we can relate this to what we were talking about a little bit with our science from yesterday. Okay. Now, as far as our science goes, it's pretty straightforward with what we were talking about yesterday. We were just talking about different parts of a cell. I'm going to go ahead and show you that document we were working on yesterday. So here we go. This is parts of a cell, right? So as we go through, you can see we have cell wall, cytoskeleton, cell membrane, cytoplasm, nucleus, mitochondria, endoplasmic reticulum, lysosomes, ribosomes, Golgi bodies, central vacuoles, and then this is our assignment for today. Okay, so we're going to have to include each of these pieces. Now you can always go ahead and include more. You can look and find some more specific things, but we should at least have every single thing from this PowerPoint. So I'm going to start with what I should start with, right, which is the cytoskeleton. It gives plant and animal cells their shape. So if I'm looking at the cytoskeleton, it gives the cell its shape. What would that be in my factory? Well, if that was going to be my factory, it would probably be the buildings, right? The buildings of my factory. So my factory is going to be a big old place. Let's see. I'm going to go with, it'll be purple. We'll make it purple. So my building, right? My factory building. So I want to make sure that I'm using all of the space. So my building is going to start from down here on the side. It's going to go way up. It's going to be a big old warehouse. It's going to come over. And again, you can definitely do a better job than me. Okay, so there's my big factory floor, right? So this is sort of like the cytoskeleton. So what I'm going to do is, as I'm going through, I'm going to label some of my stuff as well. So over here, just over here on maybe right up there, really small, I'm just going to write cytoskeleton. This is my cytoskeleton, right? This is my building. It gives my factory its shape. Okay, so I have my cytoskeleton. I haven't put anything in. I don't know what my factory does yet, but I have my cytoskeleton. Okay, you know what? Let's go and take a look at what our next thing will be. So we did the cytoskeleton. Now I'm going to skip over the cell wall because I am doing an animal cell. So I don't need a cell wall if I have an animal cell. If you want to do a plant cell, that's fine. You just have to go ahead and add your cell wall in. Next thing, we have the cell membrane. The cell membrane. Now the cell membrane is sort of what protects the cell, right? It's not a plant cell. It's not rigid like the plant cell. So I'm not going to put a wall on mine, right? I'm not going to put a wall, but I'm going to put something. So I'm going to go ahead and say my cell membrane. Uh-oh. Hello. Hello. Does that work? Okay, let's try again. Let's get back to our cell. Okay, hang with me while I fix our terrible camera. Work that around a little bit. All right, so anyway, what we're going to be doing once I get this camera to work again is I need to put in my cell membrane. Now, if you want to do a cell wall, that's great. But I'm going to be doing a cell membrane, which is also, that's not working. Okay, we're going to have to make do with a little. Okay, here we go. So that's my factory so far, right? I have my cytoskeleton, my cell membrane. What is my cell membrane going to be? It's not a wall, but it's some sort of a barrier. So it's going to be maybe a chain link fence. That's what I'm going to go ahead and say that my cell membrane is. Okay, so the camera's now working, so we're going to have to go with this. It'll work out. Okay, so I'll show you each time that I add something new to it, and then we'll switch back and look at our PowerPoint here and there too. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and take a color. I'm going to say orange is a good color for my fence. And I'm going to make a fence that goes all the way around. It's going to be my chain link fence that covers all of my property. Okay, so right here, I just added in a chain link fence. And that's going to be like my cell membrane. So I'm going to go ahead and label this cell membrane. Okay, there we go. So I have my cell membrane now. So that's the entire property of my factory. So let's go ahead and let's take a look at our next organelle that we need to put into our factory. So I have my cytoskeleton, which was my building. I have my cell membrane, which is my chain link fence that goes around protecting my material, area. Now the other thing is it controls what comes into the cell, right? That's what my cell membrane does. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add these little marks on my fence that show where the big gate is, that I can open the gate of my factory and let trucks in and things in like that. Not people I don't want in. I don't want people coming in trying to steal my footballs, but I'll allow trucks and things like that in to give us shipments, right? Okay, the next thing is the cytoplasm. Now this is a little hard to do for our factory because the cytoplasm is just where everything is. So that's really just going to be my property. My property is my my cytoplasm. Okay, let's try one more time and see if this is going to work. Oh, fantastic, and we're back in business. Okay, so let's get back. There we go. So I have my cell membrane that I have right here. Then now I put these little marks as sort of, that's where my gate is going to be. So I'm going to let shipments and things in that way. Now my cytoplasm is really just going to be anything inside this fence. So I'm not going to label that yet because I don't want the label to get in the way of anything. But I got to remember I got to come back to that. All right. Let's go ahead and take a look at what our next organelle would be. Our next organelle is going to be the nucleus. Oh, okay. All right, the nucleus. So the nucleus is the powerhouse of the cell, right? It tells everyone what to do. It directs everyone. It's sort of the control center, right? It says right here, the control center of the cell. All right. So what is this going to be for a factory? Well, this is going to be sort of like where the supervisor is, where that person sits, where all the decisions come from. So I'm going to go ahead and put my giant office, because I'm going to have a giant office in here. Ah, yes, my office. And I'm going to have stairs going up to my office. And there's my door right here. I have my door there. And then inside my office, it's got to be the nucleus. It's got to be the center. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to sort of draw like this, giving myself sort of a window, making it look like I can see out. And make it sort of look 3D. I guess I did this the wrong way, but it's fine. Okay, so inside of this office, I'm going to go ahead and put my desk. So my desk is going to, you know what, we'll use a different color for that. My desk is going to be it's going to be a nice big desk. I'm going to have my laptop on it because I have to look through different things. I have to practice my typing club. So I have my desk right there. And then on this side, I'm going to have sort of a bank of controls. And I'm gonna have a lot of buttons. I'm gonna have a lot of switches. I'm gonna have one of those switches that goes up and down like that. I'm gonna have a few more buttons. I'm gonna have a big button, things like this. So that's sort of like a control area. I'll go over there if I need to turn on things, turn off things. Here's my chair. It's gonna be a super comfortable little office looking chair. Yes, it's gonna be on rolly wheels. There we go. Oh, that's nice. And then I'll be in there too, sort of walking around, making sure everything's going the way I want it to go. So here we go. There we go. Got my hands on my hips, got some hair there, and I'm walking. Oh boy. Okay. Well, whatever. I look like a spider, but whatever. That's me. Okay. So I'm walking around my office, making sure everything's good. This is the nucleus. So I'm going to go ahead and write nucleus. All right. I can sort of see everything on my factory floor, and this is where I run everything from, where I do my business, where I turn things on, I turn the power on, things like that. That's all the nucleus, the sort of center of the cell. Okay, so let's go back and see what our next organelle will be. The mitochondria. Okay, so now my factory has a control center. It has a fence to keep it. It has a building, but it has no power yet. So this is the powerhouse. It produces energy. So what I'm going to need for a factory, how do I run my factory? Well, I'm going to need generators, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and with red, since that's a dangerous color, right? I'm going to go ahead and put these big generators in between my building and the fence. So it's still in my property. I don't have these big generators. I'll have one generator that's my main one backup generator. And then on these, I have to draw this so that no one electrocutes themselves. There we go. Get some electricity in there. This is where my power comes from. And now it needs to be somehow hooked into my building. So I'm going to have a big plug sort of come out this way and plug into the building right here. My two generators are going to be connected. And then it's also going to sort of power my building by connecting right there. So now I can control power to my building with my big generators right there. And this right here is going to be, and I'll write it sort of, let's put it diagonally this way. This is going to be my mitochondria. The mitochondria is right there. That's where the power comes from. It's running my building. It turns the lights on. It keeps everything going. Great. Awesome. All right. All right. Let's see what our next organelle will be. So we have the mitochondria. Now we have the endoplasmic reticulum. So the endoplasmic reticulum is a network of passageways that carries material from one part of the cell to the other. So that seems like it's going to be my conveyor belt, sort of my way I'm going to be getting things around my factory, right? So let's go ahead and make our endoplasmic reticulum, and let's make sure, we're going to have to deal with this again, aren't we? Okay. Well, I'm back. Hello. All right, there we go. So now we need an endoplasmic reticulum, which is going to be our conveyor belt. So our conveyor belt, now I have a big old building right here. My conveyor belt's going to need to go in and around this place here. So I'm going to go ahead and draw that. You can't really see that. So you're just going to have to look at the top of my head for a few minutes while I go ahead and get our conveyor belt all set up. Okay, got my conveyor belt. It's going to be taking materials and bringing them different places along, getting things all set up. You know what? Let's see if we can get lucky again. And here we go. Nope. Oh, good luck. Fantastic. All right. So here we go. As you can see, I'm starting to put my conveyor belt, like I'm going to have sort of wheels that roll my conveyor belt this way, and it's going to go and it's going to sort of fill into this where something's going to happen. And then my conveyor belt is going to go over this way, trying to go around the outside of my factory. Here's there we go. Another one of those where something's going to happen to my product. It's going to go over here. There's going to be another of those. Great. And then sort of at the end, it's going to sort of run its way. Remember, this is how. Let's see, it's going to go over this way, and then we'll stop there because I want to leave a little room in case I have anything else I need to put in. But my conveyor belt is going to be like that. I'm going to have a wheel there, a wheel there, wheel there, wheel there, wheel there, wheel there. All right, great. So now I have a conveyor belt, right? A conveyor belt. Now I'm obviously not done because I don't have any way to get my material in, but this is my conveyor belt, which is going to get things to go all over the place. So I'm just going to go right here, all right, endoplasmic reticulum. So that conveyor belt moving around is my endoplasmic reticulum. Okay. Let's push our luck and go back to my screen share. There we go. Endoplasmic reticulum. So we have a network of passageways that carries materials. Great. Now lysosomes. Lysosomes break food particles or worn out cell parts. So for us, what would that be, breaking stuff down? That would sort of be like our trash, our recycling center. So we're going to go back here, and I got to figure out where I want my trash recycling center. And I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put it over here in sort of the corner. I'm going to make sort of a bin. And on that bin, I'm going to write what I always see when I see recycling signs and things like that. I think it looks something like it has an arrow this way, an arrow that way, and an arrow. Ugh, it's terrible. But you get the idea. That is my recycling center. I think it's actually a little more like that. Yeah. Well, that's my recycling center down there. Okay. So now if we have trash or we have things we need to get rid of, we can bring them over, throw them in this dumpster, and they will be, let's say this is an incinerator, and it will get destroyed and taken out. So I don't have to, it doesn't all build up inside my factory. Okay. So that is what we call our lysosomes. So we have to go ahead and write here, I'll just write lysosomes. Awesome. So now we have a lot of our factory ready, but we're still not quite done. I don't know where my stuff comes from. I don't have a few things to finish things up. So let's see what else we're going to need to add in. Okay. So we have our lysosomes, now ribosomes. Ribosomes are, they produce proteins. They produce things, right? They're attached to the endoplasmic reticulum. They're floating in the cytoplasm. So they're still in the cytoplasm, but they produce things. They're the ones that actually do some of this work. And actually, without even realizing it, and it looks like we're stuck again. Fantastic. We'll just go right here. And I think I already created some of these. So if you can see right here, my endoplasmic reticulum goes through these boxes, which I wrote as a way for, something to happen to my product. But now I know these can be ribosomes. So I'm just going to go ahead and label each of those a ribosome. There we go. So now I have 3 ribosomes attached to my endoplasmic reticulum, and they're actually doing stuff with my production. Okay, so let's go ahead and look at what else we need to include. The Golgi bodies. The Golgi bodies receive materials from the endoplasmic reticulum, and they send it to other parts of the cell or release it outside of the cell. Perfect. This is what I sort of needed, right? So let's go back to our drawing, and hopefully I'll be able to show you. Hopefully. Come on, come on, come on. No luck. Okay. Here, let's try one more time. Okay. Again, you'll have to enjoy looking at the top of my head while I get all this stuff figured out. So now we need to make our Golgi bodies. And our Golgi bodies take the material and send it somewhere. So I have my conveyor belt sort of ending right here. So that's what I'm going to create. I'm going to create an area where that material is sort of packed and then sent away. Okay, so let's use a color I haven't used yet. It's a good one. So it's going to sort of empty out onto a table, and then this table is going to be where all of my footballs that are being generated are being packed. So there's going to be people standing there packing. These are going to be my Golgi bodies. There. So now I have a group of people standing, collecting stuff, getting them ready to go. I'm going to have two people sort of standing here who are going to be my people who are taking things and turning them around. And then what I need to do is, since the Golgi bodies send things out of the cell, I finally need to figure out where my trucks are going to come in to pick things up. So I'm going to pick a color I haven't used yet, or haven't used much. We'll use this one right here. We'll use some dark yellow. There we go. Okay, and I'm going to make sort of my dock zone, my docking area. So it's going to be a big building where trucks are going to come in and take the stuff away. And then they're going to have a road leading out. There we go, just like that. There we go. Now I sort of have a street that's leading out. So my trucks are going to pick my product up and drive them away. So we're going to have some, I guess I can draw a truck. That's good enough. There we go. That's close enough. I have a truck that's getting loaded up with my product and it's going to drive it out of my cell. So now I sort of have my deciding, or I know how things are going to be getting there and how things are going to be leaving. Okay, so now let's go back and let's see what else, if anything, we still need to put into our cell. So we have our Golgi bodies, which now remove things outside of the cell. But we have the central vacuoles, and this is for plants only, right? So water-filled sacs. So if you're making a plant, you can go ahead and add this one in. But you might be wondering, how do I add this in? How about we do, let me go back and let's try and get lucky one last time here. Come on. Oh, beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Okay. So now I have my vacuole, right? So let's say I was doing a plant, right? I would need to have put my cell in. I would need to have put a few things. But a vacuole, what is the one thing I'm sort of missing? I'm missing an area where people can sort of relax and have lunch, right? So I'm going to go ahead and add that in, sort of somewhere in the middle. You could say that this is a vacuole. We can have a door right over here. We can have some vending machines. We can have a seat with a few tables at it, or table with a few seats at it. We can have sort of a sink area, sort of a microwave right there. And then that can be your vacuole. So that's if you were doing a plant cell. You can also have one if you're not doing a plant cell. Just don't call it a vacuole. So we can cross that out since I'm actually doing an animal cell. Okay, so then the last thing you need to do is you need to make sure you've labeled everything. I think I labeled everything except for my Golgi bodies, which are right here. So I'm going to write Golgi bodies. I'm also going to put, right here, I'm just going to put GB for Golgi bodies since they're being delivered out of the cell. So now if I look, let's make sure my factory works, okay? Works in the same way that a cell works. My material will be coming in through the cell membrane, which has a little gate and it controls, you know what? Why don't we put a little watchtower right here with a guy going, okay, you're okay. And a little thumbs up saying, okay, you're good to go. You can come on in. So I have my little watchtower letting people in. They will come in, drop off my material, which will go onto my endoplasmic reticulum, which is my conveyor belt. It will bring it through ribosomes, which help to create the protein. In this case, it'll help create the product. We keep going through. And finally, my endoplasmic reticulum sends it out to the Golgi bodies. The Golgi bodies are the ones that package it and get it ready to go and either send things out to the factory or will send it out of the cell. So that works. My whole in and out works. But let's make sure my cell has power. I have my mitochondria over here, which is the powerhouse of the cell, powering it. How can it be run? Well, I have my nucleus up here, which is overseeing everything and making sure everything's working. Where am I working? Well, I have my building, which is my cytoskeleton. And finally, how do I get rid of the waste and the things we don't need? We have our recycling center over here, which is the lysosomes. So this is an entire cell as a factory. It sort of works, right? Now, if you're doing a plant cell, you would need to add at least 3 other things. You would need a cell wall, you would need your central vacuole, and you'd need one other thing, which is only for plant cells. So go ahead and make sure if you're doing a plant or animal cell, you know, and why don't you label it so that I know which one it is. And there you go. Make a beautiful piece of art. You have it ready. You can go ahead and take a snapshot of this and submit that as your work. All right, enjoy, have some fun, and go Buffs.